This is the Crisscross Show. I'm back, meaning there is a new set of NBA rankings, and also I'm going to get into the ESPN's top 25 under 25. I'll give you my opinion on that. But anyways, enjoy. Okay, so the NBA top 10, it is a new week, so there is a new set of rankings. Again, my rankings go based off of the top 10 teams, in my opinion, and I think we can all agree on that. Anyways, there is a new team in the top 10, meaning one team got bounced. That team was the team that was number 10 last week, which was the New York Knicks. They got bounced. They are 2 games under 500 now. They've been playing good defense, but their offense is really, really bad. So there is a new team in the top 10, which is actually number 10, which is the Dallas Mavericks. And I do think this is their first time being in the rankings this year, at least in my rankings. They have gone 7-3 in their last 10 games. They are at a record of 28-21. They did end up losing, I think, last night to the Houston Rockets, which was kind of a giveaway game. A game that you're supposed to win, but a giveaway game. You know, typical Wednesday night NBA game away, mid-season, you know, you'll give away a game or two. But they did have a notable win last week, which was against the Utah Jazz, which is actually who has the number 1 record in the NBA right now. So they are the new team in the top 10, the Dallas Mavericks. Number 9, the Portland Trail Blazers, and they do stay the same from last week. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games. They are currently 6th in the Western Conference, which it gives them a playoff spot or a playoff lock. They've been playing pretty good basketball. They can't really beat the good teams, the teams above them. Like, they can't beat, for some reason, they can't beat the Clippers. The Lakers, they always struggle with. The Denver Nuggets. So they are at 9th because they can beat everyone else. They just can't beat those teams ahead of them. So the Portland Trail Blazers are number 9. Number 8, the LA Lakers. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. I understand that LeBron and Anthony Davis have yet to play in the month of April and obviously mid-March. Anthony Davis has been out since Valentine's Day, and LeBron has been out since March 20th. So they've, struggled a little bit with their offense. Their defense has been great. I think without Anthony Davis and LeBron James, their defense has been top 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's around 2-3. Their offense has been like 28th, 29th in the league, meaning they're not scoring a lot, but they're defending. So their games are pretty close and low scoring. So that's kind of the name of the game for them right now. They are 8th. Again, I don't think they could beat the teams ahead of them, but I think they could beat every other team below them, which is why I have them at number 8. Number 7, the Milwaukee Bucks. They actually go down a ranking from 6th place last week. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games. They did lose their last game. I don't really know the Milwaukee Bucks. Are very similar to the Clippers to me. They're kind of like a roller coaster, up and down kind of season for them. They have a really good team. They did pay True Holiday a lot of money. I don't know why, but I guess that's supposed to help them a little bit. They did pay True Holiday, I think, 4 years, $160 million, which translates to $40 million a year. Especially for a player of his caliber, he should be, in my opinion, around $20 million range, not $40 million range. So they're gonna have a lot of fun with that in the next couple of years, paying him $40 million. But they do stay number 7 because I do think they would beat the Lakers if they were to meet them in the playoffs. Clearly, without LeBron and Anthony Davis. And also, they're playing hit or miss basketball at this point of the season. So Milwaukee will be number 7. Number 6, the LA Clippers. Again, the LA Clippers are a roller coaster, just like the Milwaukee Bucks. They're the Milwaukee Bucks of the Western Conference. They have won 2 in a row after losing 2 in a row. They've been playing pretty good basketball. Again, they're a roller coaster in my opinion. Kawhi Leonard looks great some days, then looks like an average player. Paul George, again, his nickname Pandemic P, fits him really, really well because he's great some days and he's like, oh, I want all the credit when I'm good, but I don't want to be blamed when I play bad. So I don't really get Paul George, especially recently. Rajon Rondo is a great addition for them, and he's been proving it. Once he gets more into the offense, into the defense, once he understands it a little bit more, I'm pretty sure the Clippers will go on a win streak towards the end of the season and maybe steal that second or lock in that third spot in the Western Conference. But they have won 2 in a row recently, and they've been playing pretty good basketball. So anyways, that wraps up 10 through 6 or 6 through 10 of my NBA rankings. Obviously, number 10 is the Dallas Mavericks. 9 is the Portland Trail Blazers. 8 is the LA Lakers. 7 is the Milwaukee Bucks. And 6 is the LA Clippers. Up next, top 5. All right, who are the top 5 teams in the NBA? Well, I'll let you know right now. Starting with number 5, the Denver Nuggets. Since acquiring Aaron Gordon, they are 7-0. They've beaten some pretty good teams along that way as well, including the Clippers, I do believe, and I think the Portland Trail Blazers. But Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, and I don't know who their 5th player is, but they've been playing great basketball. That starting 5 can compete with just about any starting 5, in my opinion. It looked a little rocky when they got Aaron Gordon, but he's acclimated into the offense pretty well, and they've been playing good basketball. Again, he's a good defensive player, and I think that in the playoffs, he's going to help them, especially if they face an LA Clippers in the second round, if they, get the 3rd or 4th seed, depending on where they'll end up. But the Denver Nuggets have been playing great basketball. I don't really like the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, but, I have to admit they've been playing great basketball. And they're going to be really scary. Again, I kind of underestimated the Aaron Gordon trade. I thought it would help them make it out of the first round. I didn't think it'd help them beat the Clippers or the Lakers in the second round, whoever they face. But I do think that they are an underrated team right now. And they're proving me wrong so far, so I got to give them a nod at 5th. Number 4, the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz have lost 2 in a row. Again, midweek games, they kind of give them away. They did lose a really good game to Phoenix last night in overtime, so I will give them that. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. I do think they were riding on a win streak, like a 9-game win streak before those 2 losses. So Utah's been playing pretty good, but they do go down 1 spot in the rankings. Last week they were number 3, now they're number 4. They've been playing good basketball, but again, midweek couple of games where they're just like, kind of mail it in. Again, they do hold the top record in the Western Conference. I don't think they're the best team in the Western Conference, but I do think record-wise, doing pretty good. On a regular basis, they are pretty good. They were riding a 9-game win streak before this. So, I will give them number 4 for that. Number 3, the Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid is back. And even without Embiid, they were holding down pretty good. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games, which is pretty good, especially without Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid's only been back for like a game or 2. They do go up 2 spots in the rankings. They were 5th last week. Now they're 3rd. Clearly the second best team in the Eastern Conference and clearly the 3rd best team in the NBA right now. Again, I do like Ben Simmons. I think the addition of Seth Curry, Joel Embiid coming back, and all their other shooters have been playing pretty good basketball. And now adding Joel Embiid back only makes them that much better. They have an interior presence, and I do think it's going to play a huge role in the NBA playoffs. But again, Philadelphia, number 3. Number 2, the Phoenix Suns. Again, the clear-cut MVP of this year, Chris Paul, who's going to get no MVP votings, has the Phoenix Suns with the 2nd best record in the Western Conference. And I do think they are tied for 2nd best record in the league. They are about a game and a half behind Utah for the best record, and they had a huge win against Utah in overtime last night, which was a really great game. They are riding a 7-game win streak, and they've just been playing great basketball. Again, Monty Williams was a great addition to the coaching staff last year, and again, adding Chris Paul, just a natural-born winner, makes him that much better. And again, Chris Paul, in my opinion, is the MVP right now because of what he's done for Phoenix. Again, I get it. You add Jay Crowder, you add a couple of other shooters. It's going to be good, but I think Chris Paul, the underrated part about him is that the past couple of years, he's helped that team win. Again, with the Houston Rockets, when he joined them that first year, they were 67-15. And then, again, the next year, they go to the Western Conference semifinals against the Warriors. Kind of a really bad performance for them. And then going to the OKC Thunder, kind of just throwing him there, shipping him out there. And then he makes the playoffs and nearly makes it to the second round. And then obviously this year just entirely changed the Phoenix Suns. And they're clearly going to be the second best, or they're clearly going to finish first or second in the Western Conference. I mean, I don't think they're going to finish third. I think it's going to be top 2 seeds for them. So it's going to be interesting for them in this next couple of weeks, this stretch, see how they position themselves in the playoffs. Beating Utah last night really brings them closer to them for the best record in the Western Conference, which is going to be very, very important, because if the Lakers do make, the 4th or 5th seed, it's going to be really important for either Phoenix or Utah to finish first or second there. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, especially for them heading down the stretch. But anyways, the Phoenix Suns, number 2. Number 1, the Brooklyn Nets. I do have to give them a nod. They have been playing pretty good basketball. Kevin Durant did come back yesterday, scored about 17, 18 points yesterday, went 5 for 5 shooting. James Harden has gone down. Again, in the regular season, the Brooklyn Nets, a James Harden-led team, looks great. In the playoffs, we got to see. And again, every time someone comes back, someone gets injured, someone comes back, someone gets injured. So they don't have that, playing time together, which is going to be really, really important, because, again, teams like Milwaukee, teams like Philadelphia, teams like Miami are getting reps with their team. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets are just kind of like, oh, James Harden, you play great you play this stretch. Kevin Durant will play this stretch. Kyrie will play this stretch. They're not getting their big three many minutes together. And I understand injuries have played a huge part in that, for them not getting many reps with each other. And it is a good time for their role players to kind of establish themselves and get some minutes in. So I do understand that. And Brooklyn's been playing pretty good. Their offense is amazing. Their defense is kind of streaky, so to say. But the Brooklyn Nets will get the nod from me as the number 1 team in the league. So there you have it. The top 10 teams. The Dallas Mavericks, the Portland Trail Blazers, the LA Lakers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the LA Clippers, the Denver Nuggets, the Utah Jazz, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Phoenix Suns, and the Brooklyn Nets. That rounds up the top 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Anyways, up next is the top 5, or the top 25 under 25, in my opinion on that. All right, so ESPN earlier this week released a top 25 under 25 for the NBA. And their rankings went, number 1 was Luka Doncic, number 2 was Zion, 3 was Lamellar Ball, 4 was Donovan Mitchell, 5 was Jayson Tatum, 6 was De'Aaron Fox, 7 was Ben Simmons, 8 was Devin Booker, 9 was Bam Adebayo, and number 10 was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, if you know me, you know how I feel about ESPN. I only really watch them because of Stephen A., Max Kellerman, Rachel Nichols, Richard Jefferson, Kendrick Perkins, and all. That's really all I watch ESPN for, to just kind of hear their opinion, because I really like them. Everyone else, in my opinion, the football, the basketball, all those analysts that I did not name, I think that they're more all about jokes and the fun times and having fun, rather as actually covering sports as you should cover sports. I think they're more they like those, I guess, unpopular opinions, and they kind of like running with them, just because it's a 1 in a million shot that it'll hit. And so I think that all those other analysts that I did not name earlier are just kind of one of those analysts that just, like being at ESPN, I guess. They kind of give these crazy rankings. So going back to that, I know Stephen A. earlier this week said that he does not associate himself with that list. He thought it was a ridiculous list, and then he later apologized for what he said.
This don't make any sense right here. I just gave you a little. Now we can go down the list. We can go down the list with a few guys. But I'm just saying, I just gave you Ben Simmons. I understand the brother doesn't shoot the ball, but what else doesn't he do? Have you seen this man play defense? Ben Simmons is a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. Ben Simmons is 6'10", can handle the rock, can pass, has a very, very high basketball IQ, can finish at the basket, is incredibly athletic, can run the show. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? So I'm just saying, top 3, Lamellar Ball can play. I believe in this kid. Happy for Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets for drafting him. I believe in him. I believe this dude is going to be an all-star sooner than later, a perennial all-star. The kid's got swag. He's got game. He was my rookie of the year before he got hurt. I get all of that. But to sit up there and put him number 3, ahead of Donovan Mitchell, ahead of Devin Booker, ahead of Jayson Tatum, just to name it, ahead of Ben Simmons. Come on. Come on. People need to get tested. I work for ESPN, all right? I've been here for the better part of the last 17, 18 years. I have nothing to do with this list. Nothing. I disassociate myself.
Anyways, Stephen A. said that, and I couldn't agree more with him, because I think ESPN has been kind of throwing these ridiculous rankings or ridiculous, player rankings in general, to the point where it's like, it doesn't make sense. So anyways, I'm going to give you my top 12 under 25, because the list is very long. I just kind of picked out of those 25 players my top 12. So starting at number 12, Jamal Murray from the Denver Nuggets. He's a great basketball player. He's hit or miss, but again, he's led his team to the playoffs the last 3 seasons. The Denver Nuggets, they go or die by him. You saw in the playoffs that when he played really great, they played really great. When he played really poor, they kind of were like, eh. So Jamal Murray will get that nod for me for number 12. Again, the Denver Nuggets are also a really young team. I don't know if Nikola Jokic is 25 anymore, if he's 26, I don't know. He, in my opinion, is number 12. Number 11, LaMelo Ball. ESPN ranked him number 3. I think that's pretty high to rank him for a guy who hasn't really done much in the league yet. I understand top 25, under 25. I understand that, like how they're playing right now as individuals. But I think LaMelo Ball is number 11, just because number 10 is Lonzo Ball, who, in my opinion, I think is a lot better right now. And I think it's disrespectful to say that LaMelo Ball is better than Lonzo Ball when Lonzo Ball is kind of, established himself as this type of NBA player already. And Lonzo is only improving, and I think LaMelo is number 11 and Lonzo is number 10. Number 9, Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum's game has kind of regressed, especially this year, compared to the players that are ranked above him, in my opinion. So Jayson Tatum is number 9, just because the Boston Celtics don't have such a great record, and he's a huge part to do with that. Which brings me to number 8, Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, in my opinion, likes a stat pad a lot. He's a good player. He's getting better defensively. And, Brandon Ingram's pretty good. He was second overall pick, and I think in 2016 or 2015, whichever year was that. He's pretty good, Brandon Ingram, in my opinion. He's improved. He scores a lot. He can shoot. His three-pointer's been better recently. And Brandon Ingram's better, in my opinion, than those players that are below him. Number 7, Ja Morant. And I say Ja Morant because he nearly took the Memphis Grizzlies to the playoffs. He has been playing pretty good. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are kind of riding above 500, around 500, which is honestly, in my opinion, better than Brandon Ingram's team or Jayson Tatum's team. So I think he's an exceptional player, especially with what's around him. I think Dylan Brooks is pretty good. Jaren Jackson Jr. is pretty good. But I don't think, I think, in my opinion, Ja Morant, the players he's surrounded with aren't the exact same as Brandon Ingram and who he's surrounded with. And I think Ja Morant is pretty good. He was second overall pick in 2019. But I think he's a really good player, highly underrated, doesn't get talked about enough. And I think he's going to be a star in the future in about 5 to 6 years. Once, like the LeBrons, the ADs, the Kevin Durant's kind of go off into the sunset and retire. So Ja Morant will be number 7. Number 6, Bam Adebayo. I think Bam, again, he led the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals last year. And again, he was probably their best defensive player. He had that huge defensive play against Jayson Tatum that went around the world, that blocked shot, that blocked dunk shot. And again, he's been playing great. He's been averaging triple-doubles recently. He's been playing pretty good. Again, he's a walking double-double. He's a good defensive player. And again, the Miami Heat went to the NBA Finals last year, so why wouldn't you rank him at 6? Which brings me to number 5, just off of pure athleticism, Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson has played like 50 games in his NBA career. He's a force to be reckoned with. When he gets in the paint, he's just bigger, stronger, and scarier, in my opinion, than a lot of players, especially him being, 6'6", 6'7". He's been playing pretty good. He's a monster in the paint. He can shoot, but he doesn't really shoot. But he's a force in the paint. So I just got to give Zion, just out of pure athleticism and just as a player himself, I got to give him the nod at number 5. Which brings me to number 4, Devin Booker. Now, which is funny because Devin Booker, everyone was like, oh, you're disrespecting Devin Booker by putting him at 8. Yeah, I do think you were kind of disrespecting them, putting De'Aaron Fox, putting Jayson Tatum, and putting Lamellar Ball. But I think everyone else was fine. Just because Devin Booker, before Chris Paul got there, was only scoring. That's all he was good for, just scoring. He wasn't really helping the Phoenix Suns make the playoffs. Last year, they did pretty good towards the end, like in the bubble. And then before the bubble, the Phoenix Suns are playing pretty good. But, I think he, in my opinion, is perfect at number 4. Just because of, the addition to Chris Paul. I think that kind of elevated him and made people think, oh, he's a really great player. But, it's really the Chris Paul effect. And I do think without Chris Paul, he was going to develop into a good player. But I think we got to hold the brakes. Like we apparently we disrespect every player. But if we're going to disrespect every player, some players are going to be ranked above others. So I do think number 4 for players under 25 is good for Devin Booker. Which brings me to number 3, Donovan Mitchell currently is leading his team to the best record in the NBA. So, you got to show Donovan Mitchell some respect there. And again, I think Donovan Mitchell's good. Last year in the playoffs, he was averaging like about 35 points per game. Him and Jamal Murray had that amazing duel against each other last year in the playoffs. Like, who's going to score 50 tonight? Like, we're going to alternate. So, and then again, Donovan Mitchell is ascending. He's been to the playoffs every year. He's been in the league, especially in the Western Conference when you had the Warriors at first, when you had the Houston Rockets, when you have the Lakers now, the Clippers. So again, he's in that pack. So in my opinion, I think he is number 3. Number 2, I'm going to get a lot of heat for it. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is great. Currently has the Philadelphia 76ers as the first or second best record in the league, depending on what day you see the schedule, whether it's Brooklyn or Philadelphia. But I do think Ben Simmons is a pretty good player. He's highly underrated. He can't really shoot, nor do you want him to, because he can pass the ball in transition. He's almost unstoppable. And I think Ben Simmons is ascending, and I think people criticize Ben Simmons a lot to the point where you kind of think he's a really bad player, but he's not. Again, has Philadelphia in second or first in the Eastern Conference, depending on what day you look at the schedule. So, again, Ben Simmons has been playing pretty good. He's had the Philadelphia 76ers, staying above water while Joel Embiid was out. So, hold your horses on Ben Simmons. He's a pretty good player. So, I'll give him the nod at number 2. Anyways, brings me to number 1. I think it's going to stay the same with ESPN's rankings. I think they got number 1 right. Luka Doncic. I think Luka Doncic is a really great player. Led the Dallas Mavericks to the 7th seed last year in the Western Conference in his second year with basically a rebuilding Dallas Mavericks team. I mean, in my opinion, I think the Dallas Mavericks are rebuilding Luka's first 2 years. I think now they're trying to compete. I don't think they're going to compete much in the Western Conference, especially when you have the Lakers, the Clippers, the Jazz, and the Nuggets all looking amazing right now, or the Lakers will look amazing once LeBron and AD come back. But I think Luka Doncic right now, he, in my opinion, is a future MVP. He was like 2nd or 3rd in my MVP rankings at the beginning of the year. I do believe that Luka Doncic is the best player under 25 right now in the NBA because of what he's done and what he's doing right now. And I think he's going to be the best player of all of them because I think his game is going to age well, just about or better than all of these players that I ranked below him. So Luka Doncic, number 1. And again, ESPN's rankings were a little off by putting De'Aaron Fox in there and LaMelo Ball. Again, hold the brakes on LaMelo Ball. I like LaMelo Ball, but I think we should hold the brakes on him just a little bit because of, what the other players have done before him. So, again, ESPN did get number 1 right. They were, in my opinion, a little, media favorite. Who's their media doll right now with who they ranked. So, again, ESPN likes to play that. Who's our play toy right now? Like, who's our toy that we love right now? So we're going to rank them above all these other players that, in my opinion, are a lot better than them. So, that's my rankings. As you can see here, my top 12. I didn't do top 10. I did top 12. Just because I think, there was a lot of players that there was a couple of players that if I left off on the top 10, you guys would have gotten mad at me on. So, anyways, that's my rankings. Hopefully you enjoyed them. I think they're a little bit better than ESPN's because I think there is a little bit more story behind them, not just media favorites. So anyways, let me know what you think on the comment section below of my top 12 under 25. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to the next episode. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Keep up with the show by clicking the subscribe button to get the latest from the show. Also, turn on the notifications to know when a new episode is posted. Thank you.